Hello guys, in this lesson we are going to explore a powerful message, one that speaks directly to anyone who has ever felt lost, stuck, or empty in life. Maybe you have been struggling with not having enough money, or feeling like you have made mistakes that you cannot undo, or just feeling far away from the life that you truly want to live. And the answers we are looking for are not out there in the world, not in luck or hard work alone, or in other people. The real change happens inside of you, in the way you think, the way you feel, you believe, and imagine yourself and your future. And to escape any situation in your life that you don't like, just like poverty. And to constantly kick and complain against the limitations of poverty while remaining poor in consciousness is to play the fool's game. So imagine someone who wakes up every day and feels frustrated, sad, or angry about their life situation. Let's say they do not have enough money to pay their bills, or they don't have the job they want, or they always feel like they are struggling just to survive. This person might talk to themselves or others and say things like, "Life is so unfair," or "I hate being poor, nothing ever works out for me." Now, if you or this person keeps complaining and feeling bad about their poverty, but at the same time they do not change the way they think, the way they believe and imagine inside their mind, then they are not doing something wise, they are actually doing something very foolish. Because even though they want to change their life on the outside, they want more money or more success or a better life, they are not doing anything to change the inside, the place where the real change begins. And now remaining poor in consciousness means that inside their own thoughts, this person still feels and believes like, "I'm poor, I'm not lucky like other people," or "it's hard to make money." Even though they don't want to be poor anymore, they are still thinking and feeling like a poor person. They still imagine failure, they still expect disappointment, and still believe nothing will change. And that's what is called poverty in consciousness, being poor in the way you think, you feel, you believe, and you imagine. So if you are poor and you still have this mindset, then it is a big problem, unless you change it. Now, if you are in this situation, you are playing a fool's game. In this case, a fool doesn't mean someone unintelligent, it means someone who is acting in a way that doesn't work, even if they don't realize it. It's like trying to fix a broken TV screen by hitting the screen, while ignoring the fact that the problem is really coming from inside the wires or the signal. No matter how hard you hit the screen or yell at it, the picture will not change because you are not fixing the real cause. In the same way, if you keep blaming and complaining about your poor life while staying poor in the way you think and feel, you are just wasting your energy. You are trying to fix something on the outside without touching the real cause, which is the inside, your own consciousness. That's why it's called the fool's game, because it never brings you the result that you want. And now Neville says, change cannot take place from that level of consciousness, for life is constantly outpicturing all levels. If you are living in a low state of mind, a place of fear, lack, or doubt, then trying to change your outer life from that inner place will not work. So if you are feeling, "I always fail," then you are in a consciousness of limitation, and from that place you cannot bring about real change. Because the thoughts and feelings that you're carrying are the same ones that created your current life. So you cannot use the same thinking that made the problem to create the solution. Because life is always showing you in visible form what is going on inside you, like your beliefs, your emotions, your self-image, and your assumptions. What you carry around in your consciousness eventually becomes your life, because life is constantly outpicturing all levels. Whether you are thinking and feeling on a low level like poverty, fear, doubt, or a higher level like confidence, love, success, life will reflect whatever level that you are on. It doesn't judge, it just mirrors, reflecting the state that you are in. So you cannot make the real change in your life if you stay in the same old thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that created your current situation. So if you feel like a victim, if you feel stuck, if you feel small, and you keep thinking from that place, then nothing big and beautiful can grow from that. Life doesn't change because you are frustrated or because you try hard on the outside. Life changes only when you change the way you feel, the way you think, the way you believe and imagine on the inside. Because your life, the people that you meet, the money that you make, the success or failure that you see, is always showing you a picture of your inner world. It is like life is holding up a mirror and saying, here is what you believe about yourself, and this is what I'm showing you. So to see a new picture in your life, more success, more love, more freedom, you must rise to a new level of consciousness. You must think new thoughts, you feel new emotions, and imagine a new version of yourself. And when you do that sincerely and repeatedly, your outer world will automatically start to change to match your new inner self. And follow the example of the prodigal son. Realize that you yourself brought about this condition of waste and lack, and make the decision within yourself to rise to a higher level where the faded calf, the ring, and the robe await your claim. And here Neville is referring to a famous story from the Bible. It's about a young man, a son who lives with his father, who is rich and loving, and the father owns a beautiful home, has servants, and gives his children everything that they need. But one day the younger son tells his father, I want my part of the inheritance now, I want to leave and live my own life. So the father gives him money, and the young man leaves home to go to live in a faraway city. At first the son is excited, he spends money wildly on parties, fancy food, drinks, and people who only like him because he has money. He does whatever he wants without thinking about the consequences. But eventually the money runs out, the friends disappear, and the son has no food, no home, no help, and he becomes poor, hungry, and lonely. He even has to feed pigs just to survive. So he hits rock bottom, the lowest place possible. He feels shame, sadness, and regret. But then one day he says to himself, why am I living like this? My father's servants live better than this. I will return home and say, Father, I am not worthy to be your son, but please let me work for you like a servant. So he decides to go back home, expecting his father to be angry. But instead of punishment, the father sees his son from far away and runs to him, hugs him, and welcomes him with love and joy. And the father doesn't say, you messed up, son, you wasted everything. But instead he says, bring out the best robe, put a ring on his hand, prepare a feast, my son has come home. And this is the example that Neville wants you to follow, not because it's just a nice story, but because it's a spiritual truth that is happening inside you. And you may have wandered away from your own power, your imagination, your divine self. You may have made choices that led you into a life of lack, struggle, and unhappiness. And you may feel ashamed, lost, or like you have messed up your life. But no matter how low you feel, you can always make the choice to go back home, to your true self, to your divine nature and your inner power. And you can always return to the Father, which means your higher level of consciousness, and be received with love. So to follow the example of the prodigal son means you wake up, remember who you are, choose to return to the state where all good things are already waiting for you, and realize that you yourself brought about this condition of waste and lack. Now take a deep breath and admit to yourself, the way my life is right now, the money problems, the emotional struggles, the emptiness, I created it. Maybe not on purpose, maybe without knowing how, but somehow through your inner thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and imagination, you have brought yourself to where you are. And this is not to blame you or make you feel guilty, never to make you feel bad, but to help you take back your power. Because if you were the one who, even unknowingly, created your current conditions, then that means that you have the power to change them. The world is not doing this to you. You are not a helpless victim. You are the creator of your life. So if you are living in a condition of struggle, poverty, worry, fear, or emptiness, then the first step is to realize that your current state of consciousness, your inner self, is what brought about those conditions. And that's how you begin to wake up, just like the prodigal son woke up and said, why am I living like this? I can go back home. The condition that I'm living is not my permanent life. I can go back to the source where I'm loved and welcomed to ask for transformation and a new life. And now make the decision within yourself to rise to a higher level. So once you understand that you created your current life, you now have a choice. You can decide from inside your own heart and mind to rise above it. You don't need to wait for someone to rescue you. You don't need to beg for life to help you. You just need to make the decision inside yourself. I am going to think differently. I'm going to feel differently. I'm going to become someone new in my imagination. And this is what rising in consciousness is. It means you no longer accept the old, small version of yourself. You stop saying I'm not good enough and start saying I'm worthy. You stop imagining failure and start imagining success. and you stop seeing yourself as broke and start seeing yourself as whole. This doesn't mean pretending or forcing. It means creating a new image of yourself in your mind, an image of someone who is loved, supported, rich in every way, and capable of living a beautiful life. That's what it means to rise to a higher level, where the faded calf, the ring, and the robe await your claim. And the part of the quote that says, where the faded calf, the ring, and the robe await your claim. These are symbols from the story of the prodigal son. A faded calf means a great feast, abundance, a celebration. And the ring means authority, power, identity. It shows you are a rightful son or daughter, not a servant. And the robe means honor, comfort, and being wrapped in love. And all of these symbols of wealth, love, and recognition are already prepared for you. They are not being created later, they are already there, just like in the story, waiting for you to come back to your true self. They are waiting for you to stop thinking like a lost, broken person and start feeling and imagining as someone who is already rich in spirit and worthy of the best in life. And when you do that, when you rise to that higher level of thinking and feeling, you claim the feast, the robe, and the ring. You return home in your imagination, and life responds by reflecting your new inner world. And in the end, just like the son in the Bible story, you may have walked away from your true self, the powerful, rich, joyful, divine part of you. Maybe you have made choices or had beliefs that led you to a life of struggle or emptiness, but you don't have to stay there. At any moment, you can choose to return to your real self. So first realize, I created this life by how I've been thinking and feeling. And then decide, I will rise to a higher level now. I will think, feel, and imagine a new me. And when you do that, everything you desire, love, money, peace, purpose, is already waiting for you. Just like the father gave the son the robe, the ring, and the feast, your higher life is already prepared for you. You only need to return to it in your mind and heart. Okay guys, I hope this video was helpful, and in the next video I'm going to create one video on how to change your inner mindset, your feelings, imagination, and beliefs step by step. So make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications.